Good morning. Nature coming alive at dawn, at sunrise. Dawn is long past. This forest is really thriving here. Great soil, still abundant moisture there in the soil for these plants to flourish. I'm not sure how high that is, maybe it's going to almost 3 meters. Growth. We're also called to grow. Today we have fascinating teachings about our union with God. That we can truly be with God, be united with Him, be, we could say, in communion with Him, in one spirit with Him, in prayer. I just heard a comment from Tim Gray saying, just like a bird flies, a believer prays. If a bird doesn't fly, it's a strange bird. You know, domesticated chickens, they're never let fly. But we're made to fly, we're made to pray. We're not made to be a domesticated chicken spiritually. We're made to fly to the heights. And we're like that comment about Chesterton there in The Everlasting Man. We're a strange creature, you know. We are dust of the earth, but we're not just dust of the earth. We're the only creature that has a spiritual component that's extraordinary, that's able to converse with God. And there we have Abraham already in Genesis with that early little piece of revelation, and God entering his life, communicating with him, speaking to him. We have Abraham speaking with God, and not just speaking, but let's say negotiating with God, bargaining. Bargaining would be a good word. Saying, if this happens, will you do this? And because you are like this, you love justice and truth, you cannot let the just be destroyed. As the unjust are punished. Just amazing level of confidence. And actually, one of the thoughts I had earlier this week looking at that passage was, you know, with such a very initial, just the bare beginnings of revelation, we have such powerful prayer. And it's actually a prayer for other people who are innocent. Abraham knows some people in Sodom and Gomorrah. He knows Lot. He knows how he is an upright person. And Abraham wants to protect his life. And he intercedes. It's a great teaching that we have early on in Scripture, because we know the situation of lots of people. And they're in our hearts, and we're encouraged to pray. To pray with great trust, to pray that God will intervene, because He is all-powerful, almighty. It's a great prayer lesson. And then we reach a climax from an experience that the disciples have with Jesus, noticing that He's praying. They also go to the temple and they join in the prayers in the temple. But there's a thing about Jesus that prayer is a very important feature, so much an exercise that they ask Him, teach us to pray. And there we have lots of teachings. And actually this is one where I really recommend you click on that link there for the readings today and you read it. And the reason is the following. We have two renditions of this experience they had with Jesus teaching them to pray, and maybe there were more. most surely. I would say I would bet on that, but I can't give you the resolution of the bet, who's right and who's wrong. But here we have two stories. We have one in Matthew's Gospel and this one in Luke. And the reason why I invite you to read this one is that you're not so familiar with it. Why we're very familiar with the other form of the Our Father teaching and its words, its word order, because that's what we use in the liturgy always, and it has become the form that's been used all across Christianity, despite the fact that the different divisions have come between us. And so we're not used to the one in Luke, and when you're not used to the wording, it makes you realize some things a little bit more. There's another freshness to it. You're not saying it just out of rote of pure memory and kind of automatically just press the button and the sound comes out. But it's something that you have to think about. You have to ponder. Because it's words that we don't see in that order. And I won't comment that detail any further so that you're curious enough to go and read it and maybe even compare the Our Father you know by memory with the way the Our Father is expressed here. And the substance is the same. But the freshness of hearing it with other words is the difference. Sometimes you have different artists interpreting music different ways, a song. And it was sung by this artist and by the other artist. And it's a different sound, and many little different nuances there that also make it very enjoyable, and you appreciate it more. You appreciate the content more. So I encourage you to do that. And one of the reasons I'm going to do that as well is I want to finish early today, because today we're on retreat. And so we're having a little bit more time for ourselves, our monthly retreat, for prayer. Normally we would have this retreat tomorrow and on Monday, and the last Monday of the month. And so because of some needs of some of our confreres, we've switched it to today. So I'm almost tempted to leave you like that, this short, because these texts are very rich. And then obviously I'll be also speaking at Mass in the homily in 2 hours' time. And so I will have another little comment about all of this. The homily from the Mass is also available as such on the Magdala YouTube page, and I think on the Magdala Facebook also. So if you want to hear the homilies, which are different commentaries on sometimes there's an overlap, sometimes they're very different aspects that come out then in the homily later on. So I'm going to leave it like that for today here, people. And I wish you many blessings. For anybody who is new, that link is inside the notes. And then when you go into the link, you get to the readings, and the readings have their corresponding scripture source. Like in Luke, there'll be Luke and so forth. And then you click on that little part, and it will bring you straight into the full text of the Bible to read it as well. Or you can just read it from the link for the readings that you have there. That will also be very good. God bless you. See you later, alligators. Have a blessed Sunday today, the first day of the new week.